Hello and welcome to Clearview Television News. We're reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, Federal High Court orders Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to issue Rochas Okorocha Certificate of Return. Coalition of 35 political parties announced support for Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila to emerge as Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives. Mexico deploys 6,000 members of National Guard on its border with Guatemala to stem flow of migrants heading to US. I am Rose Audu with the details of this and more. Justice Okon Abang of the Federal High Court on Friday ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to issue Rochas Okorocha a certificate of return. The court ruled that the decision to deprive Okorocha of the certificate was a lawless decision. Abang held that only the returning officer of the INEC had the constitutional authority to declare a winner. He held that any person declared a winner by the returning officer remains a winner until petitioners succeed in obtaining the declaration at the election tribunal. The court further ruled that Okorocha had no business being the originator of the petition at the election tribunal. Justice Abang, who ruled that the Federal High Court had exclusive jurisdiction to decide on the matter, described INEC's decision as lawless and a complete nullity. The electoral body had said it refused to give Okorocha certificate of return after the returning officer for Imo West Senatorial District said he was compelled to declare Okorocha winner. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) says its attention has been drawn to the judgments of the Federal High Court, Abuja, presided over by the Honorable Justice Okon Abang, directing the Commission to issue a certificate of return to Rochas Okorocha as the senator-elect for Imo West Senatorial District. In a statement by the Commission's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, says the umpire is also aware of and has been served with the order of a High Court of Imo State, presided over by Honorable Justice Njemanze, directing the Commission not to issue a certificate of return to any of the candidates that contested the Imo West Senatorial District election. The order from the High Court of Imo State was issued on 23rd May 2019, and the suit has been further adjourned to 26th June 2019. Okoye confirmed that the Commission is aware that the judgment delivered by the Federal High Court, Abuja, is the latest in time and determine the rights of the parties in relation to the subject matter of the certificate of return. In respect of the Imo West Senatorial election, the Commission is currently undertaking state-level reviews of the 2019 general elections, and all the national commissioners are either in or heading to their states of supervision to coordinate activities relating to the said review. He added that in view of the import and directives of the said judgment, the Commission will meet as soon as practicable to do the needful as a law-abiding institution. The Commission will continue to obey judgments of all courts of competent jurisdiction. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission (EFCC) has succeeded in getting the trial of the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, transferred from Justice Mojisola Olatoregun of the Federal High Court, Ikoyi, Lagos, to another judge. The EFCC before now had called 13 out of the 15 witnesses listed in the trial, which started last year, November, and had enjoyed accelerated hearing. Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Justice Adamu Abdul Kafarati, conveyed the transfer of the trial from Justice Olatoregun to Justice C.J. Aneke in a letter dated May 23, 2019. Curiously, while the letter was copied to the acting chairman of EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, the defense counsel was not listed among those the letter was copied. The EFCC had in a petition dated March 21, 2019, and signed by Magu, asked Justice Abdul Kafarati to transfer the trial to another judge. Magu noted that EFCC was withdrawing its confidence in the trial judge after the altercation between her and the EFCC counsel in open court on the 20th of March 2019. On March 20th, 2019, drama had ensued midway into the hearing between the trial judge, Justice Mujishola Olatoregun, and EFCC counsel Rotimi Jacobs, when the judge raised concern over the failure of the prosecution to tender the complete 3 pages of the statement of one of the witnesses. A high court in Lafia on Friday ordered the Nasarawa state government to pay the management of Breeze 99.9 FM Lafia 67.3 million naira for illegal demolition of the station. Delivering judgment, Justice Rose Soji held that the demolition of the station by the government on May 20, 2017 was illegal. The judge also held that from the evidence before the court, the demolition was in violation of the relevant laws of the state, which stipulated that the government was supposed to give a 21 days notice. She said the Nasarawa State Urban Development Board notified the management of the station that the certificate of occupancy was for residential on May 11, 2017. Justice Soji also ordered the state government to offer public apology to the management of the station for the illegal act. NUDB on May 20, 2017 demolished the station over violation of land approval. And the Justice Nyang Eko-led Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has Friday nullified the suspension of operating license of Dar Communications PLC operator of AIT and Ray Power, ordering both NBC and Dar, who are parties in the case of Dar Communications and the National Broadcasting Commission, to maintain the status quo pending a hearing on June 13, 2019. The National Broadcasting Commission (NBC) had Thursday suspended the operating license of the Dar Communications PLC, operator of AIT and Ray Power, over alleged breach of the NBC's broadcasting code. Nyang Eko, while delivering the order, mandated the FG, government and NBC to appear before it to show cause why a revert to May 30, 2019 status quo antebellum sought by Dar Communications PLC should not be granted. Justice Eko had ordered the National Broadcasting Commission, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and the Attorney General of the Federation to appear before the court on Thursday, June 13, to show cause why the motion on notice by Dar Communications PLC challenging the ban should not be granted. While announcing the ban on Dar Communications in Abuja on Thursday, the Director General of the NBC, Dr. Modibo Kawu, had said that the decision was based on the violation of the apart from violating broadcasting code. He said the decision was also taken for the failure of the broadcast stations to pay their license fees as when due, even persistent warning to the company to toe the line of caution. However, in an ex parte application, Dar Communications PLC had, through its lawyer Mike Ezekome, on Thursday asked the court to order the commission to revert its ban. Dar Communications PLC, in the suit against the NBC, the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture, and the Attorney General of the Federation, Dar, claimed that did not breach any broadcast code. Paradigm Initiative has described the reasons for the revocation of the license of AIT and Ray Power by the National Broadcasting Commission as undemocratic. The group, which vehemently condemned the action of the embassy in a statement yesterday in Abuja, regretted that the commission was stifling free expression and the freedom of the press by revoking the license of the broadcasting channel. Paradigm Initiative noted that the embassy revoking the license of one of the few private mainstream broadcasting channels and for moody, unfounded and undemocratic reasons was highly suggestive of bias by the regulator, adding, "We therefore recommend that the shutdown order against AIT, Ray Power, and the suspension of the license of Dar Communications be cancelled and the license restored. The NBC claims that its monitoring reports reveal that the station is inundated with the content of a divisive nature from bloggers and social media. But what the Commission fails to recognize and understand is that the press has the freedom to report expressions by citizens, just the same way citizens have the freedom to express opinions, however controversial. If a broadcasting channel raises an opinion expressed by a third party, reports on it and receives comments on same, such a broadcasting channel is well within its rights and duties. It is therefore unethical and clearly biased of the embassy to revoke the license of AIT and Ray Pa on this ground. And the People's Democratic Party (PDP) on Thursday said the unrelenting attacks against the Africa Independent Television (AIT) by All Progressives Congress-led government agencies, particularly the National Broadcasting Commission, smacks of attempts to cage the press. The party said it is evident that the attack on AIT is targeted at intimidating and gagging the media, reprise constitutionally guaranteed freedom of speech and stifle public opinion, particularly as related to the determination by Nigerians to retrieve the stolen presidential mandate at the tribunal. A statement by the All Progressives Congress said, this clampdown on AIT, as well as earlier siege on other media houses and journalists under the APC administration, ostensibly point to a plot to frighten and asphyxiate the media, shut down outlets perceived to hold dissenting views, and ultimately foist a siege mentality on the citizenry to restrain their demand for fairness and justice in the polity. The statement said the APC is mortally afraid that a free press will raise the red flag and expose its manipulations and any attempt to subvert the course of justice, especially in the presidential petition. Hence, this desperation to strangulate the media and cow Nigerians from freely expressing themselves. The PDP said that the Director General of the embassy, Ishaq Modibo Kawu, is a card-carrying member and frontline leader in the APC, who was also an aspirant on the platform of the party for the governorship of Kwara State. The PDP noted that there can be no democracy without a free press, stressing that stifling the media is an invitation to fascism and the return to the era of obnoxious military decrees 2 and 4, which must be resisted by all. The Nigerian Guild of Editors has condemned in very strong terms the indefinite suspension of the licenses of the African Independent Television and Ray Pa by the National Broadcasting Commission (NBC). The Guild, in a statement jointly signed by its president Funke Egbenwode and secretary Mary Atolagbe, said it demands in clear terms the revocation of the suspension, other as it runs contrary to the ideals of free speech and the fine tenets of press freedom. The NGE said the action of the Nigeria Broadcasting Corporation suspending the licenses of AIT and Ray Power, the two stations belonging to Dar Communications Limited, is a case of executive high-handedness, and it paints our dear country in the darkest era of dictatorship. According to the Guild, the fourth estate of the realm remains the watchdog of society, and any attempt to gag it in any guise is an affront on democracy and the people. Media mogul and founder of Dar Communications, owners of African Independent Television and Ray Power FM, Chief Raymond Dokbesi, has alleged witch hunts of the organization by the Director General of the National Broadcasting Commission, Ishaq Modibo Kawu. This followed the suspension of the licenses of the two broadcast stations by NBC. Kawu announced the shutdown. He said the action was taken due to the failure of the broadcasting stations to abide by broadcasting code. Addressing a world press conference yesterday in Abuja, the nation's capital, Dokbesi urged the presidency to remove Kawu from office in the collective interest of the nation's broadcast industry. He said Ishaq Modibo Kawu was dragged to court by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission on a 12-count charge bordering on fraud in the digital switchover project of the federal government, and members of his management at MBC have openly testified against him in court. The businessman linked his travails in the hands of the MBC chief to his status as an opposition figure, adding that Kawu was being instigated against him by certain forces in the presidency. According to him, the AIT management has always observed the right of reply whenever the government chooses to respond to topical issues or to air its views on any issue of interest. Shortly after the press conference, Dr. led the management and workers of Dark Communications on a protest to the National Assembly. A renowned broadcast journalist in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Kofi Battles, has recounted his ordeal in the hands of officials of the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SAS. The on-air personality, who is the lead anchor of a widely listened early morning phone-in interactive program on radio, Hard Facts, said he was allegedly beaten to stupor for carrying out his professional duties. Battles, who shortly after regaining consciousness hinted some of his colleagues about the incident, he was given the beating of his life by SAS men, handcuffed, bungered into a bus, and taken to their headquarters for more beating. Giving a full account of what happened, Battles said he drove out of his compound to get something when he saw some SAS men trying to arrest a boy who lives in the area. He said the boy's mom fries akara for a living, and he knew immediately that they wouldn't be able to settle the officers, and so decided to take a shot of the bus and number plate in case the purported SAS men were imposters. He explained that when they sighted him taking the photograph, they quickly rushed and pounced on him, giving him the beating of his life right on the road. He called on the SAS commander, Deputy Commissioner of Police Akim Fakarode, that the State Commissioner of Police Musa Balel, the Inspector General of Police, to call the men of SAS to order, adding that his life and that of his family members are in their hands. He also called on the federal and state governments as well as the human rights organizations to intervene in the situation. You're watching Clearview Television News. The news continues shortly after this timeout.
The Nigerian Police Force, through the dogged efforts of the Inspector General of Police, IG Mohammed A. Adamu, in a bid to combat the high rate of criminality and criminal elements, kidnappers, domestic offenders, violence, cultism, rape, robbery, amongst so many others, has launched the Police VGS mobile app. The Police VGS mobile app is a web-based dispatch system for quick emergency reporting of incidents by citizens, for the prompt response by the Nigerian police and other emergency and security agencies. Within 5 seconds of reporting, the appropriate government security or emergency agencies will be alerted and help will be deployed immediately. If you find yourself in a situation where your life or the life of another is threatened, such as kidnap, rape, robbery, road accidents, fire incidents, medical emergencies, natural disasters, or any attempt on your life or the life of a fellow Nigerian, all you need to do is to silently swipe the Police VGS app on your mobile phone. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be sent your way promptly. This is particularly handy in case of kidnap on the highway, roadside, one chance, or case of robbery or any communal unrest whatsoever. All a victim needs to do is just to swipe the app on a phone, either as a victim or an observer. Policemen will be alerted immediately and help will be deployed for appropriate intervention. Apart from reporting emergencies, the app also has a unique features such as Escort Me. Once this app is activated, the police force and other security agencies will receive the coordinates of the dispatcher of the distress. Either on the highway or within the city, a user can also report incidents, the eyewitness feature on the app. The mobile app is available for all Nigerians on the iOS and the Google Play Store platforms. Android or iOS phone became Police VGS Mobile Reporter. As soon as a subscription to the Police VGS app is made, the Nigerian police will be on hand to attend to incident reporters in a matter of seconds. Swipe to safety. Terms and conditions apply. Always remember, the police is your friend. This message is brought to you courtesy of the Office of the Force PRO.
Welcome back. A coalition of 35 political parties have announced their support for Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila to emerge as Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives. National Chairman of New Generation Party of Nigeria, Dr. Yakubu Shendan, stated these at the inaugural World Press Conference of the Coalition of Integrity Political Parties in Abuja. The coalition says its support is geared towards ensuring the successful actualization of better leadership that will translate into meaningful policy development. The report.
The spokesperson of the coalition, Dr. Yakubu Shendam, said, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila's endorsement is deserving due to his personality and experience.
Of Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila as the Speaker of the 9th Assembly. The 35 political party here seated have taken that decision to support him, to give him our moral and our background checks, which we are already doing with our alliance in the National Assembly. Because the truth of the matter that in 2019, most of our parties here form alliances with several candidates who are in the National Assembly, and we're discussing with them. And by the grace of God, I'm assuring that they are going to do the bidding of the CIPP.
The State of the Nation, the coalition commended the efforts of Mr. President in checkmating the security challenges across the country.
And the federating unit, we have henceforth resolved as follows. Commend the effort of Mr. President in checking the attempted spread of security challenges across the country, particularly northern Nigeria and other parts of the country, which the security agencies have put the desired strategies in combating the operation of these bandits, kidnappers, and other elements. Encourage Mr. President to set up plans and measures in his determination to boost economic growth and development in order to provide gainful employment for the young Nigerians. Support the federal government integration plan in the administration of critical infrastructure, policy trust, and human capital development for the nation.
The coalition expressed its support for nation building and responsive participation in making Nigeria a better place. In Abuja, Magdalene Michael reporting for Clearview Television.
35 political parties in Nigeria has pulled out of the Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP Alliance, that was formed before the 2019 elections. Addressing a news conference in Abuja, the 35 political parties said they have formed a coalition of integrity political parties aimed at supporting the present administration. On July 9, 2018, the People's Democratic Party signed a memorandum of understanding with about 30 other political parties with the goal of defeating the All Progressives Congress APC. The alliance was called Coalition of United Political Parties. But some political parties have pulled out from the alliance, describing it as a reckless and antagonistic formation aimed at destroying the efforts of the present administration. The coalition affirmed its support for the President Muhammadu Buhari administration, asking it to step up plans and measures to boost economic development. They urged the President in his new administration to extend a hand of fellowship to individuals with great assets to drive home the integration plan. The full and equal political participation of women in politics has been described as a prerequisite for democratic governance. This, among other issues, was raised by the EU gender focal person, who is also the ambassador of Denmark, Jasper Kamp, in Abuja at the strategic meeting on moving forward. Women participation in governance and politics. Clearview Television correspondent Magdalene Michael reports that the EU gender focal person frowned at the low representation of women at the Nigerian parliament.
The participation of women in governance and politics is of strategic importance not only for women empowerment, but also for nation building. However, despite some progress globally, women remain underrepresented in all aspects of political life. This, among other issues, were buttressed at the strategic meeting on moving forward women participation in governance and politics organized by European Center for Electoral Support with the support of the Federal Republic of Germany. The ambassador of Denmark, Jasper Kamp, insists that ensuring women and men's equal participation in governance processes and the decisions that affect their lives are vital for achieving inclusive and effective governance.
I personally believe that this is an issue that needs to be regulated by law and that INEC should be the guardian of such principles or a new law. Often when traveling around Nigeria, and this does not include this Honorable Senator because I have not talked to him about it, so I won't do it, but when addressing Nigerian politicians on the issue, they almost all give me the same answer. Don't worry, when I get elected, I will appoint a lot of women.
Until they get there.
And I'm not sure they understand the seriousness of the issue, because real power comes by the people and for the people, and not by receiving another appointment by a man.
While equal rights is a narrative that needs support across the globe, Senator Eyinaya Abaribe said the low representation of women in governance is worrisome, adding that, despite effort made by legislators to enact laws to protect women, the nation has continued to suffer setbacks.
Every time we come to this, we feel good and we go and nothing still happens. And we should ask ourselves, despite the constitutional provisions about inclusion, despite the administrative policies, despite the campaign promises, in fact, at one particular time in the last regime, there was a 35% movement, which everybody, including the wife of the president at that time, Mrs. Goodluck Jonathan, championed. Unfortunately, when the husband unveiled his cabinet, they were still not up to 35%.
The overall objectives of the strategic meeting was to discuss and review stakeholders' contribution to women participation in governance and the status of gender bills at the National Assembly. In Abuja, Magdalene Michael reporting for Clearview Television.
The Comptroller General, Nigeria Immigration Service, Muhammad Babandede, has called on officers to shun all forms of corruption and be professional in the discharge of their duties. Speaking at the decoration of newly promoted comptrollers, the Comptroller General lauded the achievements of the service, adding that all hands must be on deck to cement achievements recorded. Clever TV's Prudence Okona was there and has the details.
The Nigeria Immigration Service has promoted 3,413 senior officers of the service between the ranks of Comptroller and Senior Inspectors of Immigration. Amongst the 62 deputy comptrollers who sat for the promotion examination, 53 were promoted to controllers, comprising 43 men and 14 women. Speaking at the decoration of the controllers at the Immigration Service headquarters in Abuja this Friday, the Comptroller General Muhammad Babandede charged officers to place professionalism above gaining certificate and called on them to shun every form of corruption, especially in the areas of collecting bribe for passports processing.
First, you need to know your work. Especially at the rank of a controller, you have reached the age, the level, management level. You need to know your work. Secondly, you need to be a good ambassador of your service and your country. But we still have challenges. Officers are still taking bribe for passport. Officers are still running for passport on behalf of applicants, which we want to stop. We must shun corruption. We must respect human rights. These are two issues. It means you must be firm and fair.
On the recent strides made by the service, the Comptroller General lauded the achievements of the service, including the new enhanced passport, which is already being issued, as well as its service academy that is in the pipeline.
We are doing a lot in passport. We have introduced the new enhanced passport, Mr. President launched it officially, and he launched it with ID, with a number of national identity number, himself and his vice president. I'm glad to say we have issued many in the headquarters already. Next week we are rolling to Ikoyi. Gradually we roll out throughout the country. I'm glad to say that we have gone far in the establishment of our academy for migration in Tuga. We have finished the academic brief, we have finished the master plan. We'll soon go for approval for a university-like academy in Tuga. This means that immigration will be able to lead and provide issues to do with the degree, not only for us, but for the whole sub-region.
The Nigeria Immigration Service, however, encouraged members of the public to take advantage of the technological advancements to make online payments. Prudence Okonna reporting for Clearview Television.
For quality education and training of teachers and stakeholders in the education sector, Reports Bridge Educational Services holds a conference in Abuja. Busola Owero reports.
The conference provided a platform where educators from different contexts shared ideas, new developments, and effective classroom practices, while exploring strategic issues usually associated with schools locally and internationally. Speaking on the theme, Rethinking, Teaching and Learning, Dr. Tunde Adekola, a senior education specialist, examined the various approaches to teaching and learning in the 21st century classroom, with emphasis on the fact that teachers have got research skills and amazing discoveries from their day-to-day practice. Teachers at all levels, therefore, were encouraged to make relevant use of their practice in sharing knowledge, with focus on rethink in terms of urgency, coalition, and action. Dr. Adekola further called on relevant authorities in both the private and public sectors to work hand in hand to promote quality education in the country.
You need partnership. When you talk about the state actors, you are talking about all different levels of governments and all the relevant agencies that are responsible for teaching or learning. Because you know all this, the curriculum, the NWC, the UPED, the teacher professional development, who are training teachers. So you need everybody to come on board.
The interactive session gave room for participants to bear their minds on their classroom experiences with students.
Learners these days are concerned beyond what learners were in these days. In our old days, we just take everything teacher teaches us right and center, and then that's where we are. So we are shifting away from the old routine learning of rote learning, craft 2 times 1, 2 times 3. We're looking at now this age. Children want to know why 2 times 1 is 2.
There's some teachers that they just come and then they just write, they don't really explain. And while there's some that they make their class really fun, they try to make you interact, they go deep in the subject and they teach you very well.
They do a great job. Like, it's not an easy job, but then teachers are very helpful to me, and then I'm grateful for having them in my life because they've helped me come a long way.
In the same vein, the director and founder of Ports Bridge Educational Services, Dr. Stella Ozigi Adagiri, speaks further on motivation for teachers.
Provide training for top management, leadership, personnel in education. We provide training for teachers as educators as well, and we also provide opportunities for youth to actually develop as leaders. And in all this way, we bring in a lot of 21st century skills, which is very, very poor, and that's the part of everything that is actually going on.
As participants go into the technical sessions, expectations remain high that the gap in quality education will be globally fueled positively so as to earn successful teaching and learning. Busola Owuru reporting for Clearview Television.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu says concrete steps are being taken to improve security in the state as a way of attracting more investment to the nation's economic nerve center. Governor Sanwo-Olu also says discussions are already ongoing with relevant stakeholders like the Shippers Council, the Shipping Lines, Nigerian Port Authority, and the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to find lasting solutions to problems arising from the gridlock at the Apapa port. He was speaking with State House correspondents in Abuja this Friday after emerging from a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari.
As the governor, right, we also still have a major responsibility to ensure that we keep, as a number one security officer in the state, security of life and property is also paramount, you know, as the chief executive of the state. So beyond the fact that it's everybody has some form of responsibility or the other. A father has to his kids, you know, a wife has to our own children as well, an MD has to his staff. So the state governor also has to the entire state. So it's a work in progress, and so for us as a state, and for me in particular, it's something that I take so very seriously, right? And we're not just going to be mounting it. We ensure that we put resources, we put in place strategies that can help. It's work in progress. Like I said, if you go to Lagos and you see that they've started clearing them, and we're working together. You know, so for us, it's not just to do it, it's to ensure that we sustain it. So sustainability is critical. It's important, right? If we've taken people off and we're taking them, so we just market and market well. So it's to build a model where it becomes sustainable, right? And all of the players, you know, we're also speaking with them. We're going to have discussions with the Shippers Council, the shipping lines, you know, MPA, NIMA, all of them that are stakeholder in the conversations around port utility. We certainly must continue to engage ourselves and come about a sustained resolution.
Outgoing Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki and Speaker of the House of Representatives Yakubu Dogara Thursday said the 8th National Assembly witnessed all-time persecution and political harassment in the history of legislature in Nigeria, and stressed the need for the 9th National Assembly to be independent. Dogara also expressed concern over the future of Nigeria due to the alarming rate of insecurity across the country. The duo spoke separately at the valedictory sections of the 8th Senate and House of Representatives. He, however, stated that the 8th Assembly has been a huge success with unprecedented records set in legislative duties. Dogara said the 8th House holds the record as the most persecuted and harassed parliament ever in Nigeria's history. He noted that some members bear the scars of reckless deployment of institutional prerogatives, sieges, and invasion by state operatives. On the state of insecurity in the country, he feared that the country was losing the battle. Dogara charged members-elect of the 9th National Assembly to be determined to raise the bar of the records of the 8th National Assembly, especially on the issue of flawed elections. 8th House passed 1,643 bills, 1,588 motions, 1,192 petitions. A senior advocate of Nigeria, Mike Ezekome, has described the 8th National Assembly as the best so far in the legislative history of Nigeria. Ezekome, in a statement on Thursday in Abuja, said that the 8th Assembly proved its independence right from the emergency of its principal officers. He said the 8th National Assembly was the best in terms of sheer productivity and daring insistence on being truly independent of the executive arm of government. He said that the Assembly displayed its independence when it insisted it was its inalienable right to produce its leadership in accordance with Section 50 of the 1999 Constitution. According to him, the Assembly resisted the dictatorial, whimsical, capricious, and the arbitrary desire of any political party. Ezekome advised future National Assembly to emulate the 8th Assembly in upholding its independence. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) governors have expressed their readiness to pay the 30,000 naira minimum wage recently signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. The chairman of the PDP Governors Forum, Governor Sereke Dixon of Bayelsa, disclosed while speaking with newsmen at the end of the forum's meeting, which ended in the early hours of Friday in Abuja. Dixon said that the governors were ready to pay the new minimum wage in order to alleviate the plight of workers in PDP-controlled states. He called on President Buhari to expedite the process for the commencement of the payment of the new minimum wage by sending a bill to the incoming 9th National Assembly to review the revenue sharing formula of the country. Dickson also said that no PDP governor was involved in the alleged diversion of local government money, adding that PDP states do not indulge in such reprehensible conduct. He called on the federal government to name the states involved in the act and the period covered. Dickson, on behalf of the opposition governors, expressed concern over the alleged politicization of security apparatus by the federal government, especially in states not controlled by APC. He said that such supported the growing call for the establishment of state police as a response to the worsening security situation across the nation. The forum condemned the shutdown and suspension of the operating license of Dar Communications PLC by the National Broadcasting Commission, describing it as an act of intolerance and repression against the media. Barely a week after inauguration of Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade for a second term in office, he has again traveled out of the country, fueling speculation that he has abandoned the state. This is the second time in about 2 months the governor has embarked on foreign trip. The governor, shortly after receiving his certificate of return from Independent National Electoral Commission on March 29, traveled to Germany and Taiwan, where he spent about 3 weeks and returned a few days to inauguration, and then jetted out to Norway on Wednesday, May 5, for what he described as business trip. In his first term, some senior citizens and People's Democratic Party stalwarts decried his many overseas trips at the expense of the state, calling on the House of Assembly to put a stop to it. During the inauguration on May 29, Ayade had stated that he is going to be a project manager rather than a governor, as he would hand over governance of the state to his deputy, Professor Ivara Isu. A PDP chieftain, Chief Ededem Ededen Asoko, expressed reservations at Governor Ayade's policy of ruling the state from abroad without handing over to anybody to act while on trip outside the country. Asoko said it has become a rule rather than exception for a governor to be traveling at will instead of concentrating to work with the party and some stakeholders on how to form a government and move the state forward. The All Progressives Congress APC National Working Committee has set up a 5-man disciplinary committee to investigate allegations leveled by Senator Lawal Shuaibu, its Deputy National Chairman North, against Mr. Adams Oshomole. The party's National Chairman, Malam Lanre Issa Onilu, APC National Publicity Secretary, made this known in a statement issued on Thursday night in Abuja. He added that the 5-man committee would particularly investigate Shuaibu's allegation against Oshomole on issues involving the collective decisions of the NWC. Issa Onilu added that the APC NWC, which passed a vote of confidence on Oshomole, took the decision at the end of its 38th regular meeting. He said the committee would also investigate alleged instigation of senators and members of House of Representatives by Senator Shuaibu against the decision of the party on the choice of presiding officers for the National Assembly. These, he alleged, happened at the banquet hall of the presidential villa, even when the issues were discussed and agreed on by members of the NWC. He said Shuaibu's action was particularly embarrassing as he was seen moving around senators and members of the House of Representatives, allegedly instigating them to revolt. Issa Onilu said Shuaibu did this while President Muhammadu Buhari was making his concluding remarks on the need for APC to present one candidate to avoid a divided House. The APC spokesman said the committee, which would be headed by Otumba Niyi Adebayo, is mandated to submit its report to the party's NWC within 7 days from today. Akwa Ibom Liberation Movement has given reasons why the Local Government Autonomy Bill recently signed into law by President Muhammadu Buhari may not be in the best interest of Akwa Ibom State and its probe. The socio-political group made it clear While it appears ideal to grant financial and administrative autonomy to local government areas, the reality on ground makes its implementation near impossible. A statement released by the leader of the group, Prince Emmanuel Sam, the amended law is idealistic and will fail because it ignores present realities. Sam pointed out that the new law throws up a set of challenges in local government administration, which must be resolved in order not to bring chaos, conflict and insecurity in the state. He disclosed that from its preliminary research, the organization found out that there was no thorough assessment of the economic impact the development will have on states. And on the foreign scene, Mexico has deployed 6,000 members of its National Guard on its border with Guatemala. In an attempt to stem the flow of migrants heading to the U.S., Mexico's Foreign Minister Marcelo Ebrard is in Washington trying to stop the U.S. from placing trade tariffs on Mexican goods over illegal migration. U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to enact import duties of 5% on Monday if no agreement is reached. On Wednesday, he said not nearly enough progress was being made. After the latest talks on Thursday, Ebrard said he was an optimistic man. He said forces would be stationed on Mexico's southern border with Guatemala to prevent migrants entering the country. The White House may welcome an offer of 6,000 more troops on Mexico's southern border, but given the unpredictability of this presidency, it's not yet clear if that will be enough for President Trump to call off the tariffs. Meanwhile, in Mexico itself, the proposal has quite a different complexion. To López Obrador's critics, it looks like he has essentially given in to Trump administration by offering to further militarize what is already a pretty militarized part of Mexico. The Mexican delegation in Washington says the Mexican government is doing all it can on immigration. It's difficult to get the balancing act right, said one Mexican senator, between regulating migration from Central America and clamping down in the way the Trump administration would like. One interesting development is a call by President López Obrador for a rally this weekend in the border city of Tijuana, ostensibly to celebrate Mexican sovereignty under the U.S. president's proposal. Duties would rise by 5% every month on goods including cars, beer, tequila, fruits and vegetables, reaching 25% by October. Trump wants Mexico to stop the hundreds of thousands of mostly Central American migrants who have been seeking entry to the U.S. this year. And you are still watching Clearview Television News. Next is the sports news with Tolulope Oguntimei.
There it is. What a shot from Tiger. And the Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
hello and welcome to the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimei Tolulope Oguntimei. Nigeria head coach Genotroa has revealed that Leicester City striker Kelechi Iheanacho is lacking confidence ahead of the 2019 African Cup of Nations finals. The 22-year-old forward scored only 2 goals from 35 games in all competitions for the English Premier League PL side last season. Iheanacho has also failed to score in his last 10 matches for the Super Eagles, but he has been included in the country's professional squad for the 2019 African Cup of Nations finals. The last time Iheanacho scored for the Super Eagles was in November 2017 as they secured a 4-2 win over Argentina in a friendly match. Nigerian striker Odion Ighalo insists that he is ready and fully fit ahead of the 2019 African Cup of Nations. The former Watford attacker, who top scored in the qualifiers for the Nations Cup, suffered a worrying injury while featuring for Chinese club Shanghai Shenhua last month, and he has missed their last 4 matches. However, Odion said he is looking forward to linking up with the Super Eagles squad in Asaba this week and shrugged off any concerns over his readiness. The striker added that Nigeria must work hard in the preparations as the AFCON is a difficult tournament to win. As part of Nigeria's preparation for the competition, Ghana Troas men will play Zimbabwe on Saturday at Stephen Keshi Stadium before they depart for Egypt on Sunday. They will take on Senegal in the last preparatory game scheduled for the Ismaila Stadium on June 16 before the opening Group B game against Burundi on June 22 in Alexandria. Reigning NCAA Division 1 200-meter champion Devine Oduduro stated his quest to become the second Nigerian man to successfully complete a sprint double at the championship on an explosive note. Reports say Oduduro made an impressive showing at the McMyer Stadium in Austin, Texas on Thursday. Oduduro scored to a win aided 10.96 seconds, the fastest time in the first round of the 100-meter event, and 19.97 seconds, also the fastest time in the first round of the 200-meter event. The Texas Tech University undergraduate student is bidding to become the second Nigerian after Olapade Adenekan to win the 100-meter and 200-meter titles at the same time. NCAA Division 1 championship. Adenekan ran 10.09 seconds and 20.11 seconds in the colors of University of Texas in El Paso to successfully complete the sprint double at the championship in 1992. He thus became the second African to achieve the feat, following Namibian Frankie Freddy's feat a year earlier for Brigham Young University. Oduduro will thus become the third African to win the two titles if he succeeds in the finals on Saturday. He won the 200-meter outdoor title out of the lane 8 at the championship in Eugene in June 2018. This year, he has gone sub-20 in 200-meter tries and sub-10 in the 100-meter tries, doing both in the span of a single hour at Baylor. He is only the 10th man in world history to achieve the feat on the same day. He is the only man in the world to have gone sub-20 seconds tries this season. Nigeria's shot put king Chukwuebuka Enekwechi finished 8th with a 20.54 meter throw on his IAF Diamond League debut at the Golden Gala Petromonia Thursday in Rome, Italy. NAN reports that Enekwechi was one of the 8 men out of the 11 on parade who came to the Stadio Olimpico with at least a throw above 21 meters so far this season. The Nigerian 21.77 meter effort is a new Nigerian record and just 2 centimeters outside the 21.79 meter Polish athlete Mikhail Aratik brought to the event in Rome. Both Enekwechi and Aratik, the two pre-event best, failed to make the podium. While the Pole placed 4th with his 21.56 meter 5th round effort, Enekwechi came in 8th with his 20.54 meter 4th round throw. The Nigeria failed to hit above the mark, throwing 19.93 meter in the second round before recording a no mark in the 3rd and 4th round. He returned with a 20.48 meter throw in the 5th before fouling the final round. Enekwechi's effort has fetched him just 1 point in Diamond qualification standings after 2 of 4 meetings. The Commonwealth Games silver medalist will now be looking forward to getting one of the 3 spots available at Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, USA on June 30 when the shot put returns to the program. The rift among members of the Athletics Federation of Nigeria AFN came to an end yesterday following a reconciliatory meeting summoned by the Nigeria Olympic Committee NOC. At the end, the suspension placed on the AFN president Ibrahim Gusso by some of the board members for his alleged involvement in the IAF missing $130,000 was lifted. Some of the board members who spoke to the media at the end of the meeting said the move was to save the nation's athletics from collapse, particularly to have a good preparation for the African Games in Morocco and World Athletics Championship in Doha. There had been sharp disagreement among the AFN board members since IAF threatened to ban Nigeria following the delay in refunding the $130,000 that was erroneously paid into the AFN's account by the international body in 2017. Gusso was suspended by some of the board members who set up a 5-man panel to probe his alleged involvement in the missing money. But Gusso broke his silence a few days ago as he urged the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices ICPC, Nigeria Police and other national investigative agencies to probe both the AFN and the Sport Ministry to unravel the missing money saga. NOC pleaded with the aggrieved AFN board members to temper justice with mercy in the interest of Nigerian sport. After signing a peace accord, the AFN board members were said to have moved into another meeting where new appointments were made into various committees. Aqua United came from a goal down to condemn FC Ifeanyi to the second defeat of the ongoing Nigeria Professional Football League Super 6 Playoff Championship at the IJ Stadium in Lagos. The Promise Keepers are now second on the table, having pulled 4 points from 2 matches, while Kano Pillars moved to top of the table on goal difference, having defeated Imba 2-0 in their second match. Ifeanyi rooted at the foot of the table with no point from 2 matches. In the second match of match day 2, Rangers International FC defeated Lobby Stars of Makurdi 2-1 to record their first win of the Super 6 Playoff Championship. Ashley Barty will face Marketa Vodorozova in the final of this year's French Open. Barty will be the first Australian woman in the French Open final since Samantha Stotter in 2010. 8-seed Ashley Barty defeated unseeded American teenager Amanda Anisimova in the French Open to reach her first Grand Slam singles final. The Australian beat her 17-year-old opponent, ranked 51st in the world, 6-7, 6-3, 6-3 in a roller coaster match. The 23-year-old will now play Czech teenager Marketa Vodorozova, who beat Britain's Joanna Konta on Saturday. Joanna Konta missed out on becoming the first British woman to reach a Grand Slam final since 1977 by losing to Czech teenager Marketa Vodorozova in the French Open semi-finals. The 26-seed extraordinary run at Roland Garros ended with a 7-5, 7-6 defeat by the unseeded 19-year-old in wet and windy conditions. Konta was unable to convert 3 first-set points and paid the price. The Czech, who has not dropped a set, is the first teenage finalist at Roland Garros since Serbia's Ana Ivanovic in 2007. Konta was bidding to become the first British woman to win a Grand Slam singles title since Virginia Ward triumphed at Wimbledon 42 years ago, and the first singles player from the nation, man or woman, to win at Roland Garros since Sue Baker in 1976. And that's it from the sporting segment of Clearview Television. I'm Oguntimehin to Lulapo Oguntimehin.
Jamaican juggernaut scores his first goal for a professional side. And
thank you to Tolulope Oguntimehin. And before we go, a recap of our top stories. Justice Okon Abang of the Federal High Court on Friday ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to issue Rochas Okorocha a certificate of return. A coalition of 35 political parties have announced their support for Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila to emerge as Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives. Mexico has deployed 6,000 members of its National Guard on its border with Guatemala in an attempt to stem the flow of migrants heading to the U.S. And that's the news. Remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV. Follow us on Facebook via Clearview Television. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online. Follow us on Instagram at Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Nigecomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Rose Audu. Many thanks for watching.